Lamzu is taking the mouse market by storm, and their new mouse, the Atlantis Mini, is no exception.
He's Eric and I'm Devin, and today we'll be talking in depth about the shape, specs, and other features of this mouse to see if it is the right one for you. And stick around to see where this mouse ends up on our tier list.
Full disclosure, Lamzu did send this mouse out to us for free, but it will not affect our review in any way. Looking at the dimensions, you can see the Atlantis Mini has a pronounced hump which offers good palm support. This hump fills up my palm a lot for such a small mouse, which gives it great stability for its size. You can also note the low button height and very narrow grip width, which makes the mouse feel very precise. The Atlantis Mini also has significant back flaring, which allows for a tight, locked-in grip, as well as easier pinky finger and thumb micro adjustments. However, those with small to medium-sized hands may find the width of the hump restricting for those kinds of inner hand movement. The Atlantis Mini also has a small front flare which could give ring and pinky support for those who extend their fingers. As the name implies, the Atlantis Mini is, well, a smaller Atlantis. As a result of the smaller size, the narrower hump on the Mini sits deeper in my palm than the full-size Atlantis, which means it's still fairly stable even if it doesn't fill up my hand as much. The narrower grip width also makes the Mini feel more precise than the full-size Atlantis, though it can be more straining to use for long periods of time if you have larger hands. For those looking for an XM1 Mini, I'd say the Atlantis Mini gets the closest of any mouse I've tried. I've seen a lot of people calling the Atlantis Mini a Viper Mini wireless, and while there are similarities between the two shapes, they are notably different. The two mice share the same grip width and back flare width, but the Viper Mini flares out wider to the front, which makes the Viper Mini feel wider when gripped with extended fingers. The biggest difference between the two mice is the Atlantis Mini has ledges and a hump that are much wider than those on the Viper Mini. The wider, more pronounced hump makes the mouse more stable than the Viper Mini, but does result in less inner hand mobility. Let us know in the comments if you'd like us to do more comparisons to different shapes, and we may just make some shorts going over them. And while you're there, consider leaving us a like and subscribing, as that would mean a lot to us. Overall, the Atlantis Mini has a fantastic shape for a variety of claw grips. I find it to be my best mouse for tracking and flicking, though I am more precise on the new G-Wolves HTX. I'd recommend the Atlantis Mini most for relaxed claw for small hands, tilt claw for small to medium-sized hands, pincer claw, knuckle claw, and aggressive claw for medium to large sized hands, and fingertip grip for large hands.
The Atlantis Mini is listed as 49 grams, and on our scale comes in at just about that. The incredibly low weight makes for an effortless feeling of moving the mouse and changing directions rapidly. This mouse joins the small list of releases that are extremely well built and come in at this incredible sub 50 gram weight. As I said, this mouse is incredibly well built. There is basically no side flex at all, even when pushing as hard as you can. And the only flex that is on this mouse is on the thinner portions of the bottom plate, which will never affect actual use.
Like its bigger counterpart, the Atlantis Mini has fairly good wireless performance, which competes with other top mice, though perhaps not the best on the market. The Atlantis Mini can operate in both 2.4 GHz and wired mode, and has dongle storage to make travel easier. This dongle slot is much more secure than the one on the original Atlantis, so kudos to Lamzu for the improvement. The Atlantis Mini uses the 3395 sensor, which provides flawless tracking as well as motion sync to make movements a bit smoother. There is no noticeable motion latency, and like other mice using complex MCUs, click latency can be as low as 4 milliseconds, which is on par with Glorious, Pulsar, Ninjutsu, and Fantech mice. It has around 70 hours of battery life when operating at its max polling rate of 1000 Hz, which in our experience keeps it running through at least a week of heavy use. When it does die, the Atlantis Mini charges with a braided USB-C cable, which is a bit stiff, but has a very angled stress relief which keeps the cable out of the way. The Atlantis Mini may have the best buttons I've tried on any mouse. The Atlantis Mini uses Huano transparent blue shell pink dot switches, which have a nice snappy tactility, while still maintaining a fairly light actuation similar in weight to Vaxi mice and the Pulsefire Haste. These clicks are lighter and better tension than those on the original Atlantis, and combined with the amazing pre and post travel, they feel fantastically spammable. I have had an issue with my left click squeaking when pressing from the left edge of the button. This has gone away with use, but is obviously not ideal. I reached out to Lamzu, and they said this was most likely just a bad copy, and that they'd get back to me about any updates for future batches. I haven't heard of anyone else having this issue yet, so it seems very rare. Other than the squeaking issue, these have been the best clicks I have ever used. The side buttons on the Atlantis Mini are large, easy to hit, and have a nice sharp and tactile actuation. These buttons have great pre and post travel, far better than the original Atlantis. Combined with the bouncier tensioning which makes them super spammable, these are my favorite side buttons on any mouse. The scroll wheel uses a TTC silver encoder which has decently defined steps, though less defined than the TTC gold on the original Atlantis. However, the scroll tensioning on the Mini is much tighter, making the mouse less prone to accidental scrolling. The scroll click, however, does feel a bit stiff and less spammable compared to the original Atlantis, though it's not a massive deal. Here's a sound test of all the buttons. The coating is one of the few things that Lamzu has left to improve. The Atlantis Mini has a very lightly textured matte coating, which offers a bit of grip, but not as much as more textured coatings or rubberized coatings. This coating is also not very sweat resistant and can get fairly slippery. Luckily, the mouse comes with some of the best grip tape I've ever used, so you can improve your grip at the price of changing the dimensions slightly. Like the original Atlantis, the Atlantis Mini has some of the best PTFE skates you can get. The included larger set is very smooth, consistent, and has a nice glide speed. The smaller skates are also smooth and fast, but are less consistent and not as good in my opinion. Overall, these are fantastic stock skates, and there is no need to replace them with aftermarket feet. Click speed using unconventional clicking methods is important for Minecraft players, as it makes many combat and block placement techniques easier to perform. The Atlantis Mini has adjustable debounce down to 0 milliseconds in software, which means all clicks can be registered. For jitter clicking, the Atlantis Mini is fairly good due to the great travel and tensioning on the clicks. I can maintain a click speed of around 13 to 15 CPS on this mouse. For butterfly clicking, I can hit over 25 CPS on the Atlantis Mini. The buttons are somewhat narrow, however, so keep that in mind if you have wider fingers. For drag clicking, the Atlantis Mini performs very well. The stock coating is actually not bad for long dragging, but the included grip tape makes all kinds of drag clicking very easy. I can hit upwards of 40 CPS on this mouse. The Atlantis Mini fixed nearly all of our problems with the original Atlantis and has a great shape that will be well suited for a very large portion of claw grippers. This mouse is certainly an S tier, on par with other amazing releases like the Sora from Ninjutsu.
Coming in at just $90, the Atlantis Mini presents a very good value compared to other mice on the market. $5 cheaper than both the Ninjutsu Sora and the Pulsar X2, check out our reviews on both of those, while also maintaining a similar build quality and coming with great grip tape on par with aftermarket ones, which would cost around $10. The Atlantis Mini is one of the best value, premium, ultralight gaming mice on the market right now.